All right, so here's just another video, another Kubernetes Colearning video in the playlist. Again, I tried it with these things that are about 2 hours or more long, so I usually try to summarize my goals at the beginning and then summarize kind of our conclusions at the end. So if you don't want to watch the whole video and you just want to get the highlights, stick around for the plan that I'm about to talk about, and or else jump all the way to the end, and it should be the last thing in the video if I did it right. So then you can go to the end of the video and you can see what we learned, what we discovered, what things we didn't, and all that stuff. So again, just to give you the overview, I have to give the overview every time. So professionally, I work as an infrastructure engineer in a high performance machine learning group doing infrastructure engineering and Kubernetes cloud native, that kind of thing. And I bought the 3 certifications for Kubernetes from the Cloud Native Foundation, which I'll be getting before July, hopefully by 2021. I'm probably going to shoot to take them all over Christmas this year in 2021. The way things are going, I think I should be able to make that. And so a lot of this has been just me learning Kubernetes from scratch with nothing there. I recently did some videos on this, so you can go watch the prerequisites for Kubernetes. Somebody asked about, I did one on that, which got, high ratings. Actually, Dennis Last Miles mentioned it. I appreciate him doing that. In his stream, he's a long time, really, really serious veteran from the tech industry. And it's really great to have him offer that support. So, most of the work that's been in the Kubernetes Colearning space has been dedicated recently to coming up with the best learning environment to practice doing the CKA stuff. I already have kind of a basis for the CKD, the development stuff, and I'm going to come back to that. So there's 2 main things I want to talk about, but today specifically, I want to talk about bare metal options and on-prem. And to discuss what that looks like, I'm going to make a decision about what OSs to put in my own on-prem environment. I won't be doing cloud. We might touch a little bit on DigitalOcean's Kubernetes offering, which is $10 a month. We'll talk about things like RancherOS versus RancherOS isn't a thing anymore, by the way, right? It's been completely deprecated. We're gonna talk about the different OSs, Talos and Sidero, which I've talked about. Actually, Sidero systems, they actually retweeted me. They tweeted to my. I really appreciate that after meeting with them. I appreciate them doing that. I haven't got it on there, but actually, the cool thing is I think I might have accelerated the time frame for getting a try on the Talos stuff. So, because I have a feeling we're going to be doing hardware earlier than I want to talk about that in a bit tonight. So let's talk about hardware and host OSs. So that's going to be a big part of the early talk for tonight. And then part of it though is I need to adjust the learning plan. I need to adjust the learning plan to include hardware. Okay, so and I don't know if we need to revisit this, but I've kind of decided that I don't want to do any cloud stuff. I don't want to do, Hightower's tutorial is all about G-Cloud. I don't want to do any of that. Now, we do have, at work, I do have some Google Cloud training coming up, which they've arranged for us and everything. So I might wait for that before I try some of my cloud offerings. I've had people in the stream say, "You're stupid for doing on-prem." And I'm like, oh, really? Tell that to the, 200 plus machine data scientists and machine learning experts who use our cluster all the time at work and would go crazy. I can't say how many, but we just installed a whole bunch of NVIDIA A10, A100s. And we do have, I think a few V100s, which are like $6,500, actually we were renting some V100s. And the thing of it is the amount of money that if you had to pay for that money, basically, I don't, let's make the case for on-prem. Okay. Make the case for on-prem. All right. That's going to be the first part of it. So I think that's a good summary of what we're going to do tonight. That's at least going to fill 2 hours, the way I talk and stuff, and work. And I don't know how much of this is going to actually be Kubernetes stuff. It's more about getting my bearings. and taking stock of the hardware I have and seeing how much of that's going to end up where and everything. All right, so to make the case for on-prem, so let me just start with that. So uh, you know, it's expensive to do cloud computing. Bottom line, and the people who control cloud, uh, Azure, Microsoft, and and AWS and Google, they want you to believe that that's the easiest thing to do and that's the only thing to do because they make a crazy amount of money from that. And they have a really active advertising and marketing campaign to convince everybody that doing anything on-prem is stupid. Um, and I disagree with that. Actually, my main priority, not to mention the everyday experience of the requirement for on-prem because of machine learning, I personally want to see. I want to put these here. I want to live in a world where on-prem is the priority. Uh, I don't want to live in a world where all of our computing power is all hosted on 4 services. I don't care if they have distributed availability zones across the world. I don't care. That's not the world I want to live in. I want to live in a world where you can build your own thing and share it. And so that fundamental ethos within me says I yes, I understand I have to know cloud and everything, but I don't want to live in that world. So if I have a choice to promote a world where people are building stuff on-prem, if it's the best solution for them, or at least equal to a cloud solution, then I'm gonna do that, and I want to make it easy for them to do that. So there's a lot of technology that's missing from the on-prem world specifically because it's been omitted by the people who gave us all this stuff, who came from these big providers. Um, CNI comes to mind, the whole gatekeeping that Google's been doing over Istio. There's just, I could go on and on, cite reasons that I think that these big providers they're promoting cloud, but they're promoting their cloud. Red Hat is all about making money with OpenShift. So I don't want, my choices are going to be based on the world I want to live in, combined with the world I have to support at work, which means probably putting Red Hat OSs or some Red Hat compatible OS on everything. So those are my priorities. So when we go into this, the second one is that I really don't okay. So cloud computing, specifically, cloud computing is fucking expensive, and especially ML. All right. So if you don't know what I'm talking, so the amount of computing power it takes to do the machine learning. So the organization that I support, I can't say who, and please don't dox me, but it is really, really expensive. And it's getting more expensive because of fucking fintech. Fintech is blowing the lid off of the prices on it. One Tesla V100 disk, how's it going? GPU is $6,800. $6,800. And actually, Les Miles was doing some stuff. He's got a $2,000 or $3,000 card that he's been experimenting with, where he's writing drivers stuff for it, I think. He's got some C code going on. It's really fun to watch, actually. I wish I was good enough to do that. So it's really expensive. So if you think that you're going to do anything in the machine learning and data science space, and you're going to use cloud, just forget it. Just forget it. Just don't even think about it. You're not going to. It's way too expensive. It's particularly because this other thing too is that machine learning is so expensive because of the price of GPUs and renting a GPU that a lot of good machine learning is not happening. Why? Because fintech and gaming. So fintech and gaming are taking up all the GPU power, and that leaves very little GPU behind to do like real research and science and all this shit that happens at Facebook, whatever that is. So I just trying to make the practical case that learning how to do your own on-prem cluster is cost effective and for the right organization. And frankly, those are the organizations I want to work for. They're the kind. I mean, I'm working for a big ass organization with its own class AIP address, but it doesn't matter because eventually, as I get these skills, I mean, I love the company that I'm at now. I'm not planning any move immediately, but eventually I want to be able to help consult and raise the bar, raise up all of the small and mid-level organizations, which, by the way, tend to employ the middle class as opposed to the elite, and the people who are on the assembly lines and stuff. So that's kind of my goal. Facebook had an event today, shifting the work toward developing stuff for the metaverse. Yeah, he's been talking about that for a long time. So yeah, and he came out with the Ray-Bans. That's the only thing that I'm interested in. I just want to see if the Ray-Bans will work with any other RTMP source. That's actually something we do. If you interested in any of this IRL streaming and any stream sort of thing, look at my schedule. But later tonight, I'm going to be talking. We have an AMA coming later tonight, and then we have for an hour, and then after that, I'm just going to be partying and hanging out, and I'm going to be mostly talking about IRL streaming with stuff like that. If you're interested, so yeah, it's on the calendar. I mean, it's Monday, so it's Thursday. It's not going to be that big a party, but it'll be a party. I forgot what day it was there for a second. So let's do this next. So yeah, you need on-prem to really learn it. The reason for this is because to really learn infrastructure engineering. Okay, and I guess you could kind of do that. Infrastructure engineering. I mean, if you really want to take this to the full extent, you're going to crimp your own Cat5 cables. You know what I mean? Have been rebuilt. The A100s have been rebuilt for the cluster. I just saw it work. So here we go. So we need on-prem for lots of reasons. Cat6. Did I say Cat5? Yeah, I got all the crimpers over here, right? So I'm actually really happy to announce that that as of this Saturday, cross your fingers, pray for me, send me thoughts and prayers, whatever. I'm going to have, it didn't even cost that much. It's like under $800 total. I'm a little bit skeptical that all this is going to work. I actually have a GoPro coming that can do IRL streaming straight to an app, whether the app is on your phone and if I'm on Wi-Fi on my phone here, I should be able to. Why do you care? Because I'm going to be IRL streaming the hardware that I'm going to be building. So my wife has been really charged up. She's been cleaning up her studio because she's now got it. She has a front room studio. We never have actual family rooms in our houses. We always use the space for something else. So right now her front room / studio is rebuilt, and she's taken a lot of that stuff to her McCall Center studio, which is really great that she got that. And that leaves, the only thing that's left in that room is this totally horrible IKEA hack that I use for a rack that I used for a long time to put whatever in it, right? So I'm actually going to be resurrecting that absolute monstrosity of a rack, and I'm going to be bringing it right there. And if everything goes well next week, if not this weekend, pointing to right there will mean you can see right there, and I will be building it live in front of you. And I had this really cool hat that has a brim. It lets you put the camera down so you can show what's in your hands and stuff. So I will be still streaming, but so the reason I'm telling you this is because Serverstein, Frankenstein, dude, this thing is so fucking ugly. You guys are going to laugh your ass off on it, but I just want to make a point that you can take old hardware that's just left over and make a Kubernetes cluster out of it, right? So why is that relevant? Because I feel like I've been talking about getting it to run in Docker, all of this stuff. And now that motivation, honestly, has left me. I'm like, because my wife, it's a wooden rack. Yeah, it's totally horrible. It's classics of home labs. Oh my God, it's so fucking ugly. It is so ugly. You guys are going to just cringe the whole time. And it's like the way I have my power cables and everything. It's really, really bad. I mean, it's really bad. It's not professional at all. It's got stickers all over for the kids. And I mean, it don't even have EPS. So I'm not gonna tell anybody to do this. This is not gonna be my hey, be me, I'm awesome. This is going to be, hey, look at this Frankenstein monster. Let's all laugh at it together and see if we can make it run Kubernetes. Um, I mean, you've heard me talk about before. Some of you may have heard me talk about, laying out the money for an actual rack, with ventilation and all that shit. And this now, this just happens to be under the air vent, so that's my ventilation right there. It's chalet themed. I mean, it'll be fun. It'll be fun to put it together. Something you can do with it, right? Oh, absolutely, absolutely, Borky Bash, and that's actually part of it. So, I have probably 35 or 40 Raspberry Pis left over from the school, and so the co-learning Kubernetes streams are going to turn into me fucking around with Arduinos and Raspberry Pis and shit like that. That's what it's going to become. So now, because lots of things have combined to just fill me with motivation. I have zero motivation to fuck around with Docker and systemd right now, because at the end of the day, it's a distraction from the real thing. I mean, let's be honest, okay? Let's be honest, right? I'm not doing a K3s cluster. No, I'm not doing K3s. This is why. Actually, no, we'll talk about that. Let's talk about the operating system to pick a little bit later. Okay, so we're going to talk about hardware for a while, and we're going to talk about what OS might go on the hardware. And at that point, we might be able to bring in what's the best OS to run on there, K3OS and stuff. And I think we should probably itemize all of the hardware and OSs here. And let's sounds like we're kind of going there already. So let's do that. So, but I wanted to get out the explanation of where this motivation is coming from, because anybody who's been watching my plays is like, wait, I thought we were building, pseudo systems and host containers and Docker, and we were fucking around with systemd and trying to get that work. And now thinking about that almost makes me want to puke, because I'm like, I spent at least 3 hours trying to get a Docker container, and then the alternative was like, how many hours did I lose looking for like a big ass server with multi-threaded so I can run a bunch of VMs on it, right? I mean, I spent at least 2 or 3 hours looking at that, and it's pricing out coming in at $5,000. I'm like, no, because the worst possible thing that can happen here, the main reason that I didn't want to go this route, is because I am not 100% sure that the power here is going to be able to maintain this cluster, even with a UPS. So I definitely going to have to lay out the money for a good UPS. I do have a good one that I just renewed batteries on, but I don't know if it's good enough to run all of them. I mean, it does keep stuff up for about 60 to 70 seconds, and it's butt ugly. Oh my God, my UPS is so butt ugly, but I just kept buying new batteries for it. So I mean, I don't pretend to be, a hardware master by any means. I kind of am a hobbyist kind of thing, but and it's good because Het is here. Het Tennis, I was on his stream last night again. If you guys aren't following Het Tennis, HET underscore, here, let me put it in here. HET underscore TANIS. He has some pretty solid skills in the server space, server management, virtual and real, and so it'd be fun. I mean, he's actually one of the frankly the only Twitch streamers I know of who spend any amount of time talking about enterprise level server management. I mean, I've been flipping around the channels on Twitch for a long time, and can anybody else think of anybody else who's streaming about this stuff? I don't find anybody streaming. It's like since the whole software and game dev, migration, it seems like there's nobody left who's actually doing operations, let alone operations for the enterprise. And Dennis is gone now, and he was the closest thing to it, streaming the hardware side. Yeah, well, he's not just streaming the hardware side. He's streaming. So he runs a professional Linux group, and he's only been streaming for 2 or 3 weeks now. So I just want to mention him. He has an interesting mix of experience. He's got a CISSA. He's military background, and he's a really nice guy, and he's had some college teaching experience. And he doesn't give a shit. He just works on stuff. So people say, why are you running Windows to manage your Linux server? He's like, cause. I love that. It's like, it's somebody who says, people who get like meticulous about, it's like whatever it is the job, right? It's like, he has plenty of access to Linux servers. He's got like 5 behind him, but he just so happens to be running Windows to do his streaming, and people give him shit over it. He's like, whatever. which I love. I love that about him. He's kind of my generation. He's a big Perl guy, old school too. So I'm really happy to encourage streamers like him to come aboard and to start streaming their operations experience. He doesn't have a lot of solid programming experience, and that tends to be the thing with operations people, right? That's the whole SRE angle, is you now are required to know how to code a little bit. But he can knock out an Ansible script. I mean, he showed me that. I have never done one. So that was pretty fun. So anyway, I think he'd be a good streamer to complement with me or others, because he has a different experience, and he's got a lot more virtual machine operations experience than I do. And I'm actually pretty heavy on the development side. I'm probably about 60% systems development and about 30% operations and hacking and setting stuff up, and security audits and things like that. So that's kind of our skill layout. And by the way, all of those skills fall very solidly under science and technology. None of them fall under software and game development, just to let you know. So next time somebody gives you shit for streaming under science and tech because there's ducks here and nobody does that anymore, just tell them to stop being so tribal and, go away, because we're getting stuff done here. So let's see. There was Pima Beach in California. I don't know about that one. Is what cost effective? Reminded me of the story about the guy who was pissed off about ISP prices and bought an ISP license and became ISP himself. Yeah. I've helped kickstart 2 different ISPs. Got them off the ground. I still have stock in the first one. I don't even. They try to not pay me because they say whatever. It's a long story. It makes me sad. I'm not going to talk about it because I should get stock there. I was one of the founding members. If it's the guy, I think he recouped those funds. Did he really? Nice. So let's talk hardware and OSs. Let's shift up a little bit. I think we're doing fine. We've got another 90 minutes. And let's kind of debate direction here. So what do I have? And this is the part where I would stand up and go over there and count the Raspberry Pis and show you all the Raspberry Pis and my stuff. And you're going to get kind of a look inside of our apartment. I'm going to try to be careful to hide everything that could be. I've warned my family about this. I said, you realize when this IRL stuff comes, while I'm building this cluster, I'm going to be walking around in the house a lot. So, wear pants and shit. Because I'm going to be walking around in the house, getting Raspberry Pis and moving the stuff out from the other area. Hide your sex toys, exactly. And my guitar and like make your bed and that kind of shit. So, and I'm going to be literally like ripping stuff up and putting it over here. I'm going to have to be really careful because for example, I got a legal document like right here on the desk. So, but we're going through this massive like home cleanup. It's like Memorial Day, like people doing, but we waited too long. And so the whole house is getting a lot cleaner because we're just organizing everything. We thought this was going to be a transitional kind of place to stay while we found a house. And now that my wife has this really, really amazing studio opportunity, I just cannot overstate how amazing it is that she got this. It's subsidized and everything. That we're staying here. We're staying in this kind of, low end apartment. Definitely on the social scale, it's on the low end side. But it's fine, and we totally love it. The people here all have families, and it's fantastic. So you're going to get to see all of that. Now, what I'm probably not going to do, and I'll talk about this in IRL streaming later, you're not going to get to see like the last mile to my house. You probably will be able, to those people who are like really dedicated. And if you want later, we're going to watch, there's a YouTuber who made a whole thing about why Twitch screwed up with IRL streamers and why IRL streamers are going down now. And I want to watch that with everybody. It's pretty scary, but I'm still going to try it anyway. So, but mostly if it's just me walking around the house and you seeing my dusty desk here, so be it. I can get around that. If you guys can talk me through how to make stuff and fix it up, right? Shower curtains. You could. I don't give a shit. You want to see my shower curtains in my dirty bathroom? I don't care. I keep my bathroom reasonably clean, but my wife would disagree. I have to clean my own bathroom, by the way, just so you know. So, it depends on what side you come from. Right, exactly. Dude, my camera's waterproof. There's probably TOS terms against that though. I think it would be hilarious if I went in there and didn't, reveal anything. The only problem would be with that is if your camera fell off on accident. He lost control of what it was taking pictures of in a live stream. There's just like so many perils about doing this. Hot tub pool category. I know. Why not? I'll have a bubble bath. I can have a bubble bath. I can have a big bubble bath. Would that count as a hot tub? Does that count as a hot tub? If I have a big bubble, like if I stir up the bubbles a whole bunch and then have a bubble, wooden rack in the bathtub. Hell no. Yeah, no. So this is supposed to be on YouTube, and now people are going to be really scared. They're like, "What is this guy talking about?" They're terrified. They can't look away. I am not Henry Cavill. Let's just get real right there. I'm getting closer, but I am not Henry Cavill. I love Henry Cavill. I love him. I love him. I think he's a great actor, and he's also the youngest of 4 boys who got beat up all the time. I just love that about him. He's a great guy. So let's talk about hardware and OSs. So this is where I would start to go out there and count everything too. He is a gamer. He's totally a gamer. Yeah. So I think I have 14 Mac Minis. And, you guys are going to laugh your ass off. But, use what you have, right? I think I have 5. Yeah, I think I have 5. One of them's got our taxes on it, though, so probably should leave that one alone. Let's say 4. We got 4. Please no. What? We have to put it on Mac Mini. What are you talking about? These are leftovers from the school, yeah. So, you think the Mac Minis are bad? You know what? They run RancherOS no problem because these are the old ones. So I have 4 MSI Tridents, which have GPU nodes. These are going to be my main GPU nodes, and I have to have GPU nodes in my cluster. These are actually really good gaming systems that I feel bad that I'm not selling to somebody to play games on. Yeah, as Kubernetes nodes. They absolutely are fine as Kubernetes nodes. And this is kind of one of the reasons I'm doing this. I want people to see that, you can do this kind of stuff. And I have some, I have an assortment of Raspberry Pis going all the way back to the 3B, I think. And so I don't know how many of those are going to be able to run Kubernetes with any degree of efficiency. The thing about a Raspberry Pi thing, though, is that they're really, really great for tiny jobs, for tiny services. Like if you just want to, and we can probably use Node Affinity to have a Raspberry Pi tied to a sensor. So I could actually, the Raspberry Pis are all run by power, right? So I have a pretty kick-ass rack, that yeah, for parallels and stuff, right? And API services, right. So I think I probably have 8. I want to say I have 8 power over Ethernet ports in my Netgear, and I want to experiment with running those things and doing different sensor-like things with them. You know what I mean? Because then you're just running one cable, right? Even if it's an apartment, right? So I could actually stick one of the cables all the way around to the window or something, and have some sort of time lapse. That won't work. Why don't you think so? 3 business. No. I have a lot of 3B pluses though. Yeah. I don't just have 3Bs. I have more. I have some 4s. Yeah. Anti-predator 4. Yeah. I have probably, I think I have 3 or 4 4s. Yeah. And I have a couple of Pi Zeros too. I really want to see how the Pi Zero does. Yeah, I have a 2 or 3 Pi Zeros. Those are crazy. It took forever to get those because they were always sold out. Those are amazing. They're so much better than an Arduino in my opinion because they're a full computer, microcomputer. So anyway, about 30 or 30-ish assorted Raspberry Pis, and we'll just see which ones work and which ones don't. The thing I like about the Raspberry Pis is they go bad. The whole Kubernetes thing is that it fails over to a different node, right? So you don't have a problem there. You found the PoE hat? Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to go get that. Let me go add it to the list. Yeah, let me add the PoE hat thing here, related. I bet this is very helpful for me to have this stuff in here. Thank you for that. So about 10 Mac Minis, 4 MSI Tridents, 30 sort of Raspberry Pis. I don't think I'm gonna add. I actually have laptops. I have probably. I don't know if I'm gonna put those on, but with the lid down, they're fine. You know, I have probably I have probably 12 laptops. They're like low power laptops, Acers and assorted stuff and leftovers and thing. Um, so $20 for that. It's like more than the pie. Um, so I mean, it's not that big a deal. Yeah, low power laptops. And then of course I have my rig here, which I've tried to decide whether I was going to add it on, as a Kubernetes node or not. I think I actually might do it. I think I might. I think I might. My streaming rig. My streaming rig. You know, you can run Kubernetes on anything. So I can turn my streaming rig into a node in the cluster so that I can schedule jobs. And with node affinity, I can say I only want this to run on the streaming rig. So I can actually set up all of my stream redirection and different things like that. I can set it up through that. And this just reminded me about hybrid clouds. So Kubernetes is set up to be able to do multiple availability zones, and unless you use something like Elasticsearch, which I just had a meeting with the people about, where it has a high latency or a low latency requirement in order to do its job, I mean, it doesn't even do well across data centers. So aside from FFmpeg streaming, I know why not, right? So I've thought about a lot of this stuff, but what I'm trying to get at is I'm trying to think if I were to add, I kind of want to add like a DigitalOcean server as an external node, and just know that it's in the, but I can still have it be in the cluster. You see what I'm saying? So like I could run, I could, rather than have, how's it going, guy with the cube? And I can put all of it in my VPN. You see what I'm saying? So, and I could put an ingress, I could set up an ingress, from the Kubernetes server, right? So I have one server, one DigitalOcean server. So this is the kind of things that I'm thinking about here. For like low latency services where we're like relaying stuff on and all that, I could turn that DigitalOcean server into a VPN using either OpenVPN or what was the one you guys were talking about the other night? You guys were talking about a different VPN client. It's like a big one, and you can put everything, including your phone, on the same VPN. VPN plus control plane, right? Yeah. So, I don't know. Was it WireGuard? I can't remember the one you were talking about. Something like plan stream digital instead of what's that? Your Twitch label is something like, oh right, I know, I changed it. Plan IRL and digital med live. That's coming later. Let me go change it. Yeah. This is not part of the API. It's one of the biggest gripes I have about the whole Twitch thing, because the notifications don't. I want to change the notification and title at the same time. They can't. You have the copy and paste as a piece of patient. I'm sorry, guy, if you tuned in. If you want it, if you come back for the schedule, look at my schedule. When I come back, we do partying and stuff and AMA. During the partying time, I'm going to be talking about IRL a lot. So the only IRL stuff we're talking about now is how I'm going to be doing my hardware build of the Kubernetes cluster IRL coming up here pretty soon. Hopefully next week even. So that's cool, because that's going to motivate me to do more hardware things. And I need to honestly, I need to clean up my desk, and I need to take up my hardware skills a notch again, because I haven't done hardware in a while. So I need to catch that stuff. Also, I want to learn VPN. I want to consider doing a VPN with my phone. I want to put my phone on the same VPN. So I can't make my phone a Kubernetes cluster, or can I? I wonder if I could do that. It's an ARM chip. That would be crazy. OpenVPN WireGuard is your option. Yeah, WireGuard is a bomb. I know. I've been thinking about getting WireGuard actually. Well, we were talking about getting WireGuard because that's a we were talking about doing SRT streaming earlier, and I still want to do SRT streaming. In fact, I'm really seriously considering uh what? And you can't put your phone in Kubernetes? No. No, it would be cool if you could, but you can't. So, um, yeah, I mean, that was kind of a joke, but the SRT stuff isn't. So one of the things about the IRL stream that might relate to this is I'm trying to decide whether there's two ways for me to do IRL. One of them is I can just carry my phone around with me, and my phone will be on Wi-Fi, and then I just put Streamlabs or use the GoPro app to just stream directly with no overlays or anything. Or I can put all of this stuff under WireGuard on my VPN, which means that when I'm home, it will use Wi-Fi for the WireGuard, and then I could put my SRT ingestion here, and then I could get the converter, which I'd have to carry around with me. That's the only problem with that is that you have to use a cable connection to the GoPro instead of having it just go to your phone. So I don't know. I mean, that's a little bit more to carry around. The way it is now in my IRL stuff is just going to be one GoPro and a phone. That's it. My lag is going to be an issue, and I don't care. Most of the time when I'm doing IRL stuff, I'll be on Wi-Fi, or I'll be running in a place that's got pretty decent 4G. So you'll be able to follow as good as any. I'm not going to start. I do have a butt pack if I were going to put like a 4G modem in there or something and do direct, but I'm not trying to think about that. If you imagine selling Linux on a cell phone, yeah, I've got a ton of extra cell phones laying around just here that I could probably buy to put Linux on. Actually, cell phones make really great. We were actually talking about this about a year ago. Cell phones make really great portable. I think Green Jenny was talking about this. They make really great portable sensors with cameras because you can put Linux on there and it comes with the camera and all the hardware. It's just a Raspberry Pi with a really kick-ass camera and a screen. At the end of the day, it's the same hardware. So if you can manage it, you can turn those things into amazing like endpoints on your network or whatever you want to do. I don't have a lot of need for a lot of sensors right now, and mostly this is again just to learn Kubernetes. So yeah. To compile Kubernetes for the platform for Linux. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I would be really shocked. I mean, let's put them in here. Like old phones, old working phones. I have a lot of those. I have probably 5 old working phones, and they have all the stuff in them. I could probably put Linux on them, and the batteries are still pretty good and everything. Who knows? I mean, it would just be fun to do it. I would love to put Linux on there and run a kubelet on my phone and say, yeah, that endpoint is a Samsung phone. Like, what? Yeah, it's some sort of, of course, yeah. Talk a couple of years back about getting a Kubernetes cluster running on a smartwatch. I bet you could. A single node cluster. Time for Arch install fest. So going back to OSs, let's talk about hardware. Here's the hardware. Let's put it this way. So here's the hardware I have laying around. I'm not buying any new hardware. I'm not, and I don't think you should. So let's talk about OSs. Let's talk OSs, operating systems. And so I actually, because this is a training rig, I'm going to have like a mishmash of Frankenstein, Cubenstein kind of stuff. I'm going to have everything because I want to sample a little bit of everything. So, for example, I know I'm going to do Sidero /Talos at least on one. I think Sidero has really great Raspberry Pi support. It's kind of a no-brainer to do that for that because what I could do is I could make an SD card and I could just replicate actually no, these boot off the net. So that's another thing too. We want to make a net boot. yeah, and then we need to do let's say like general network architecture. Uh, we need to talk about that because I probably want to use Ceph um, for network storage. Um, but I don't know because Kubernetes I could just use the persistent volume claims for everything. So I really learned a lot about Cubenstein and cubic wooden rack and space. Rackenstein powered by OpenStain. This is my Cubenstein right here. People are gonna laugh. They're like, "Oh my god, oh my god! If you can make that run, you can make it run on our Ceph for PVC is perfect stuff." Yeah, I think Ceph is probably good. The problem is I don't. I think. Well, it's. I still don't have my head around storage classes yet, and I need to understand that. So because you can still do local storage too, right? As one of your storage classes. So Elasticsearch, I learned today for the first time. Elasticsearch defaults to local private storage, and the reason that they have 1 gig is because they have their own set of replicas for pods. This is oversimplified apparently, but so I mean this is really cool about Elasticsearch. By the way, installing Elasticsearch into this whole mess is a major requirement because one of the reasons I want to do this is I want to install Elasticsearch and set it up, and I'm not going to get a true setup experience unless I have local node storage for PVC claims. And PV is abstraction of the source. Yes, I know. Yes, the storage class. That I do know. I did read about that. If you mount it to Linux, you must use it as a PV in Kubernetes. Yeah. So I mean, for example, we've got some new systems. Some of them have like 4 or 5 or 8, SSD drives on there, and we're not RAID 5ing them or anything because you don't need to, because the PVC persistent volumes will just handle it. And if something goes wrong with that, there's redundancy in Kubernetes, so you don't need redundancy of your disk necessarily. And there's a bunch of architectural considerations to talk about there. That's not just the only reason. There's still plenty of reasons to use storage, and there's still a lot of reasons to use network attached storage, which is going to be the reason I want to go through this. I want to, because there are pros and cons depending on the application for using network attached storage, which is everybody can use. Which has an increased latency usually because it's network, right? And having applications use local storage, which just chops up a piece of your local disk, as I understand it, and uses that as a volume, and then it just uses that amount of files as a critical point of Ceph. Yeah. So that's really what we're talking about here. So if and we have things to talk about, and so I'll be drawing a lot of pictures. I don't know if I have enough time tonight to draw pictures. We'll probably be drawing pictures tomorrow. But the point being that there's at a certain point you want a central place to put your files and back them up, your important files or GitHubs or something like that. There's a reason to have a mounted S drive or volume or something all over the place. And that stuff doesn't really usually have a high latency. It's not like block attached storage where you need, really low latency for things. But, and the way Elasticsearch does this is actually pretty cool. Is the reason it doesn't assign huge PVs, huge volumes is because it's easier for it to replicate smaller ones. So when you scale Elasticsearch, you learned this for the first time today. It's pretty amazing. So when you scale Elasticsearch, it just auto scales. And if it needs more storage, it keeps, as long as you have volumes and persistent volumes for it to claim, it'll add a new pod and a new pod replica, and those two will sync with each other all the time. And so if you have them in different availability zones, they will keep in sync. So if the one goes away, your data is still over here, and the data is living on whatever storage classes you've assigned for that. Now, Elasticsearch has been used with reliable network attached storage, so it's just super easy. Everybody just attach it to that same thing, or you can actually do this way and have it share data across persistent volumes, different persistent volumes, and then have them come up when you need to take it down or something like that. So, I mean, that's really complicated for a beginner to get their head around. But the more I asked the question, I was like, well, that doesn't, so the hassle of setting up RAID 5 doesn't really compute at that point. Is like, absolutely. It says usually you don't need to do that because you've already got the redundancy you're looking for in the fact that the stuff that's running, because it's of the application, right? Because the application does the redundancy for you because it's leveraging all of Kubernetes the way it should. So one of the cool things about this is this actually could legitimately simplify the infrastructure deployment tasks that are required. I mean, RAID 5 is not trivial to set up unless you have, you buy a SAN or something. It's got, you just plug them in and you're done. But there's a lot of considerations there. And it's particularly if you're not setting up, and I haven't done it in a long time. So it was kind of nice to hear that one of the most, important applications of all time running in Kubernetes just kind of thumbs its nose at RAID 5. It doesn't care. It's like, that's fine if you're going to do it, but it's kind of overkill. You might not need it, for you to recover. RAID 5 isn't simple for you to recover. Yeah. So, and that's, the other thing too, and when you do that is if you burn up 3 disks in RAID 5 or 5 or whatever, and now anything happens with that pod, that entire volume gets written off, right? So because you can't, it's like one volume. There's a number of things that I'm learning about Kubernetes which are directly impacting hardware selection. And the reason that I'm so turned off by the previous direction I was going down with getting it to work in a VM or Docker and stuff like that, even with virtual machines, is because you cannot understand Kubernetes unless you understand the hardware it's running on. And this whole turnkey solution shit that's coming from the cloud providers, they're trying to sell you on, hey, just deploy our application, we'll deal with all that for you. And that's fine. That's fine. But if you're doing on-prem, you have to know what CNI you're using. You have to know, how is this stuff? And I am so fucking fortunate to be on this team right now. And that's one of the reasons I want to stream it. My discoveries as I go was because I'm a total noob. You can, but it would be the level of developer, right? CCAD plus. Yeah, right. So that's what I'm trying to say. It's there are just so many different considerations that when you're thinking in terms of when you have Kubernetes on the brain, the whole world looks different. And particularly if you're looking at Kubernetes on metal, which is what Talos and Sidero are all about. So I really want to look at that, because then you just have something, an endpoint that's just the hardware. It just gets managed that way as well. So particularly in the area of storage, and one of the things that was the hardest for me to get my head around is how is storage managed in Kubernetes, because it's not managed by it. Kubernetes, it has PV and PVC and stuff like that, but strictly speaking, storage is not included with Kubernetes. This is one of the things that I misunderstood about it when I first started, is that, RAM and CPU are directly included because they're a part of containers, duh. But storage has nothing to do with it. So it's all about the mounting and stuff, and it's largely taking place outside of the Kubernetes cluster. Yeah, I think it will, and yeah, thank Black Mouse for your feedback there. So and there's so many storage options, right? So there's I want to have a certain amount of storage that's using mounted volumes from the computer. So I have a couple computers. Some of these, actually, all of the MSI computers that I have an extra. They have SSD and they have external drives, right? So this would be a really good place for me to practice using one of two things. I understand Ceph allows you to network your hard drive storage by putting an agent on there. I don't know anything about Ceph, but that's what I understand you can do. I don't know. I'm about to learn it. For sure, I can remember news about availability to set limits for storage in upcoming Kubernetes release. Yeah. And then we have the whole etcd thing to deal with, the redundancy. Oh, that's another thing too. General architecture. I really want to emulate 2 availability zones. And this is availability zones are an architectural principle where if one of them gets hit by an asteroid, you're still okay. And I think it's really important, particularly if you're going to do on-prem, to do that. RC Bridges for missing. Hi QT, welcome. I do WeChat. I don't have an IRC bridge for the moment. I do this. This is it right here. Yeah, I have a. This is just WeChat using regular Twitch. You know, if you go to my bio, there's like Twitch without the Twitch. There's a little write up in the video about that. I am planning, however, to move to this is actually the application I want to deploy to my Kubernetes cluster. I want to make a live stream community platform manager that takes in all of the chat and then has a central client that everybody can tie into. And that's an application I want to write and go that I will eventually be doing as my basis for this. Just to kind of a heads up on that. So that's where that's going. But yeah. Oh, you're SWE? Oh, wow. Thank you so much for coming by. Software engineers, yeah. We're doing DevOps-y, software-y kind of things. If you see me developing software, it's either going to be like, wicked simple shell scripts that integrate with Twitch and YouTube and shit, or it's going to be Go programming that's integrating a bunch of the stuff for writing parsers. I'm really obsessed with parsers. If you're not hankering for Fossey, Slack alternative, Mattermost is great. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. So general architecture, I did. So back to this. So emulate. Don't yell at each other. Okay. Emulate. So we're going to be emulating 2 availability zones here, and so that, and if you want to call it that, you could say data centers, right? So it's not unusual for a big company, especially a company the size of the one I'm working for, to have multiple data centers that are 50 or more miles apart from each other, so that if one gets knocked out, they can still function. I mean, we're talking billions of dollars, millions of dollars on the line if one of them stops working, and this is the kind of like real serious computing and operations and IT operations that I not only am currently actively involved with every day and have been for a while. When I was at IBM, it was just spread out over Fortune 500 companies. We supported all of them. But I'm working for a specific company now through a contractor. But the reason I'm bringing this up is not just because about me. I have to, keep my skills up, but I also want to prepare people watching for working in these environments. One of the things that Dennis kept like just going on and on about and praising me for, it's kind of embarrassing, was the fact that I'm doing this one thing, that we're preparing people to think in terms of enterprise, and Het actually he mentioned, I gave him 100 bits yesterday just for mentioning change management on his stream. Without any solicitation at all, he talked about, he was like talking about one of the things you could do. And in the middle of it, he goes, but you can't necessarily do this because there's a thing called change management. And when you work for a company that's pretty big, and I was like, oh my God, I could have paid him to say that. And I did. And then I paid him 100 bits. I said, that's just for mentioning change management on Twitch. Because you don't hear about it. They don't talk about change management on YouTube or Twitch or anything. It's like a core enterprise thing, so you can't install your, NeoVim on an enterprise system. Anyway, so thinking about things like, even if my 2 data centers are like, one of my data centers is this half of my IKEA rack and the other one is this half of my wooden IKEA rack, so, and this one has a power strip and this one has a power strip. What's funny? I didn't even build in power redundancy. Because it's boring. Nobody wants to hear about change management. So boring. Oh my God. Yeah, boring. Change management. Halon, change management. Enterprise systems. Where's the boobs? I heard there's boobs on Twitch someplace. Yeah, but they're all paid for. Brought to you by... I couldn't resist. I could not resist. I'm sorry. In the mid-20s, trying to osmosis my knowledge from the boomer Linux FOSS diehards before they die. No shit. So actually, it's funny. Dennis just lost one of his close friends, and he's worked for us for 25 years on the Linux kernel, and and he and I are getting up there too. And so we're like, I'm running. I'm going to stay healthy, man. I got to stay healthy. Because nobody's passing it on. There's no gray hat to non-gray hat transferal, going out. There should be, and that's why I do this. By the way, I'm gonna make those fancy emoji bit animaty kind of things. If anybody wants to make some for me, or you have some submissions for me, and you want to save me time, I'm actually gonna go the extra mile. I'm actually gonna make those things. I'm gonna put them in there so you guys can have that. Like the cool emojis that you can use elsewhere that are like super cool. I don't know what the spec is. I have no idea. Figure it out. Let me know. So yeah, if you can come up with a cool one, let me know. I think one of them probably needs to be try hard mode, but nobody will get that joke. They'll just think it's me being serious. There will come a rolling wooden rack soon. Yes, definitely. We will take a picture of my like really boring wooden rack, and that'll be like. No, we need a Cubenstein or a Frankencube. We need something like that. That's probably a new thing. Who knows what our stuff's gonna be. Video, yeah, we'll get something. But John Deere, something's got to be with John Deere. I don't know why. Just because I love John Deere hats, they're comfortable. They are comfortable. I'm not even advertising for John Deere. I should probably go for a John Deere sponsorship. This Kubernetes co-learning session brought to you by John Deere, maker of fine generators. Holy shit! I just figured out a way to get a free generator. Give me a second. I have to look at this. I must. Because in my new house, I want a generator. I've wanted generators forever for my stuff, Wait, why isn't it? Okay. Come on, Rob. You can graphic. I know you can. You can graphic. John Deere generators. Please have like a kick-ass generator. Oh my God. This would be so great. Hey, there's a question. What do you think of Haskell and Camel? Are you going to be around? We're going to do AMA later tonight. Check the schedule. We're going to be doing AMA at, oh God, it's 7 already. 7:30. Wait, what time did I say it? Oh no, we're going until 8, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, AMA is, what time is AMA, people? Oh, 9:30. Actually, AMA is 9:30. Yeah, ish. Should we bump it up? Is that too late? Why not do that? I'll bump AMA up. I'm gonna bump it up. AMA is now at 8 o'clock. I might take a break, but AMA is now at 8 o'clock, and I'll put partying and chill out back up to 9. How's that? So your schedule should now be updated if you reload. I love that plugin. It's finally working. It was not working for a long time. It's definitely working now. Or is it? Come on. It's not changing. I just changed it. Oh my God. It's not working. I said I don't see it working. Do you see it working? Yeah, let me reload. I know. Helm does BR. When you Kubernetes version of Monica Steer. I don't know what Monica Steer is. You guys, it sounds like you got it covered though. You're much cooler than me. So, oh, there it goes. Yeah, all right. So AMA is in an hour. So any questions, if you have any random questions about anything, put a capital Q in front of them with a colon, and I will answer those during that hour as best I can. And if we don't have any, I'll go ahead and go to the Discord and catch up. You feel like you've entered a new chapter of your life. I was living in BRE before the RBX era, and now you're in the RE RBX era. That's a very can I quote you on that? Can I quote you on that? That was a really kind thing to say. And I have a kind of a quotes list when people say things that are really nice. Can I really? That's so nice to say. I like collecting nice things, and everyone at home and the YouTube audience is just gonna have to wait while I take a little moment. I think everybody should take a moment to like when someone says something nice about them, just write it down, and then when you're feeling bad about yourself because you suck because you did something horrible and you're like, man, I wish I hadn't done that, just go back and remind yourself about that time when that one person said that one really nice thing about you, and then pass it forward and make somebody else feel nice, and maybe the world will be a better place. Just maybe. There's a movie about that. There is. Yeah, one of the actors got canceled, but whatever. I feel like I've entered a new chapter in my life. Good Grandpa was talking about that earlier. He was talking about that kind of same things. Why a generator? Maluva. Why do I find add data? No, commit data S keys. You need to see me do this. You need to see all the details. Commit is just git commit data. Yeah, it does. You can do 2 for 1. We show that the GIF on stream. What? Monk steer? I don't know what that is. You need a Kubernetes version of that? I'll have to go look it up. I may do that right now. All right, so add nice comment to CV. Add a nice comment, because life is all about the nice comments. Git push. There's a link above to the GIF. Are there boobs involved? Am I going to get it banned? Don't get me banned. Oh my God. I can't put Pepe in everything, unfortunately. I can't put Mr. Pepe in anything. No, I mean, he's really cute, but I know. Yeah, it's definitely not Rick either. This is something else. Yeah, on the Kubernetes Slack, there's a funny emoji. Kubernetes intensifies. Kubernetes intensifies. Or that's what you're describing. Yes, intense Kubernetes. I have to entertain this generator. Does John Deere make a generator? They absolutely do. Oh, be still my heart. When's my birthday? It's my birthday. It's my birthday. It's my birthday. Honey, I would like a John Deere generator for my birthday. Why? She'd be like, I need the generator because I'm using the arc welder. Boom. Seriously, my wife is badass. She's like a licensed arc welder user. She's so much better in the workshop than me. You have no idea. She's insane. And she just got into a studio that has all these equipment in the studio area, like in a common area. It doesn't have a hat. It doesn't. We need, if I buy a John Deere, God damn, look at that engine though. That engine is just rocking. I mean, look at that engine. I want this. Why is it that the most exciting part of my Kubernetes cluster so far is the generator? People are like, I got me a Threadripper with like 64 cores. I'm like, oh yeah? I got me a John Deere P series. My Kubernetes cluster is going to be up way after your big fancy fucking Threadrippers in the toilet. Yeah, let's go. Let's do this whole chaos architecture, people. You guys, this is a real thing. You guys know about chaos architecture? I hope this is suitable for work. One can only hope. Seriously, the chaos architecture is like a super huge thing in the Kubernetes cloud native space. I'm clipping. I got really excited. So chaos architecture. So yeah, chaos architecture is developed within a specific context. Chaos engineering. Yes. How about that? Let's do that. That's a better term. Yes, that's the right term, actually. Thank you for that correction. Chaos engineering. What the hell is it? It's the reason to get a generator. See what I did there? I kind of like circuitous way around to get, yes, ding, ding, ding. You need a generator. That's it. There's a great Kubernetes podcast on chaos engineering. Highly recommend folks check it out. Chaos Monkey is God. The logo of the Chaos Monkey. Now that needs to be an emoji immediately. How do I do this? I'm making it right now on stream while the YouTubers watch. Maybe I should save that for party time. I mean, and then the YouTubers can come over for party time. Save image as, okay. Logo Chaos Monkey. Touch my monkey. We need to put the touch my monkey in the background with Chaos Monkey. I'm defaulting over into party mode, as you can tell. I'm sorry. I'm gonna use this as it's only $680. That's not even that much. Look at that wattage. Look at that wattage. 3,600 watts. I'm gonna put that fucking generator on a trailer behind my adventure bike. I'm gonna turn it on. That has to be done. I have got to make a trailer for my generator. And on my adventure bike. It's like, oh, you got your solar panels. Yeah, that's cute. Burn some dinosaurs, bitch. This live IRL stream brought to you by. I am so doing that. I am so doing that. If I get past a certain number of subs, I am doing that or whatever. Oh boy. Don't put this in your quotes. Oh, that's very nice. Thank you for saying so. Yeah. Oh God. We haven't had a good. Yeah. There is no good. There's no fucking tutorials because it's moving too fast. Even the official materials are not good enough to cover it. You got to stay connected with people that are working with it all the time. This is one of those places at Talos. There's a ton of other people. We need more Kubernetes people to stream. And Funkmane's been streaming. Black Mouse would be an amazing streamer if we could get him to stream, her to stream. I don't know what Black Mouse is. I don't know what your gender is. I'm not asking you to dox yourself. I'm just like, I'm throwing pronouns out and I'm going to get in trouble. So here we go. 3,000 continuous watts. 3,000 watts, people. 3,000 watts. You know what else there is with Chaos Engineering? There's a Doom game you can play where you shoot random things and the monsters are pieces of your enterprise. This is a true thing. My inclusiveness sucks. I was raised in a different generation. I'd have nothing against people that I use the wrong pronoun on for, but I try my hardest. That's all I'm asking. Just a little bit of benefit of the doubt here. Colleagues, people, y'all, and stuff. So wait, I need to put tangent into chaos engineering, and John Deere tractors and John Deere generators. You know what the craziest thing is? My wife will totally be okay with this purchase. She will. I just have to wait until we have a house. I'm going to get one. Did I say tractor? I meant generator. I can have both. Generator. John Deere generator. It's like, I have to charge my phone. Give me a second. Here's your face mask. Here's your smoke filter face mask. Imagine you're in the middle of like Waterworld, a Waterworld episode. And you're like that pig guy shooting the machine gun. The wooden rack on a vibrant platform. Seriously, they made Doom. They made Doom to practice your chaos engineering so you can literally like shoot and destroy things inside of your enterprise. You know, and see if it holds up, if it like recovers, because chaos engineering requires the testing for chaos engineering is destroy shit. I just love that. I love that that's a thing. It's like the opposite of declarative architecture is shooting things randomly in Doom and making them die. If it's science and technology category, but it totally does. This is definitely science category / agriculture. You know, Dennis would approve of this. Dennis, if you're watching this right now, I'm thinking of you right now, my dude. Because you know he would approve. You'd be like, yes, I approve. I'm gonna power my $2,000 GPU encoded in C99 from a generator. Like, why do you need a generator? Well, you know, in case one of those big ass wolves eats your power cord or some shit, or those beavers, which is a real thing. Beavers eat through internet cables in Canada. Chaos engineering people. Yep, here it is. It is a small Canadian town loss of 30. less internet for 36 hours because beavers nod through their fiber cables. That's chaos engineering. You got to plan for the chaos. A solar not a viable option in your region. Solar is no, not here. I mean, solar is good, but I'm up in the mountains, a little bit more solar. Please don't stare at beavers. I didn't start the beavers. I'm talking about actual beavers, Maluba. Get your head out of the gutter. I mean, come on. It's bad enough that Docker engine has its head in the gutter. Who the fuck thought putting that as one of the possible nouns was a good idea? You know that whoever made who here come the references that I shall not repeat. To the confused YouTubers out there, I got the most horrible and yet comical random name in a container that I was doing. If you watch the Beginner Boost videos, and the name was Beaver. It had an adjective too. So just saying. And comedy ensued after that. It was just like impossible not to. But honestly, who chose the noun beaver as one of the random things? I know we're going downhill. I think we just jumped the shark. I do. I think we just jumped the shark, and I can't do it fast enough because I'm too slow. So I did, because we need another clip. We need a clip for that, for the other thing. I think we did. We jumped the shark. Why do I have 14 Mac Minis? That's the real question. I willfully paid money for those. I think you should stop clipping. I should probably stop clipping stuff. Are you serious? Oh, right. Yes. I should definitely do that. No, beavers cause internet outage shooting through cables. So yeah, but they can't shoot your power cables. That'd be worse, right? YouTube clipping. Oh, right. Yeah, it might get me in trouble. Yeah, I don't know. Like 2 seconds. Actually, that's literally within the law to do a 2-second clip or something. Generators. Anyway, so okay, that was enough of that. But that's where that came from. We were talking about, stuff. What is the cheapest one? I want one so bad. Then I can actually be legit. But I should call them. I'm gonna say, hey, I want to talk about John Deere. I wear your stuff every day. Do you want to sponsor my stream? No, I'm not like that. But if I were, I would love John Deere to sponsor me. Wink, wink, wink. I mean, come on, what a cool sponsorship that is. How many people on YouTube are sponsored by John Deere? 0. On Switch, none. All right. Anyway, next, back to, well, we got 30 minutes left. I'm kind of degrading. That's what happens when you stream too much. I've noticed that I'm about good for 90 minutes. They say 40 minutes is the maximum attention span of any human being, and it's about true. Having taught lots of kids and stuff, it's 40 minutes max, man. And then they just kind of overflows, and they don't focus on anything. Oh God. Let's see here. So operating systems. So Talos. Hey, so let me ask the community here. We got Linux people here. Let me ask you, which among you thinks, okay, of all of the non-Red Hats, which one do you like the best? Ready, go. CentOS is a thing apparently now. That's not We're fine. To satisfy the trolls in the house, we shall put Debian and we shall put Ubuntu, which are not the same, by the way. Very damn close, but they're not the same. Fedora. I know Fedora very well. I actually was alive when Fedora split, and I was a part of that big mess. You said not Red Hats. Did I say that? No, I'm sorry. Let me qualify that then. What I mean is the non-Red Hats. So there's like Cent, there's Fedora, and I'm going to put Red Hat because I don't think I can try. These are Red Hat without the Red Hat, right? So there's a couple others actually. I know, but Cent is gone, but it got picked up again. It did. I swear to God. CentOS got resurrected. CentOS, Fedora Core. Fedora Core is probably the closest one to Red Hat compatibility. That's what I used at work for 10 years. on my laptop so that my skills would carry over when I was building RPM packages and stuff. CentOS is a rolling release, is it? Yeah, I don't think CentOS is dead. I think it got picked up by somebody. CentOS Linux is dead, and Red Hat says, long live Debian. CentOS is dead because Red Hat hates CentOS as an alternative. Yeah, you know why? Because they were making them look bad. There's another company that picked it up, though. But, I mean, of course, the whole point of this is compatibility with Red Hat. 2 forks is still no one really... Not now? Really? I did not realize. I thought somebody picked it up. I guess my answer is no to that. I mean, do we want an Arch endpoint just because I've never experienced one in the wild, nor will anyone. But I don't. I think I would rather have a Talos endpoint than that. They rebranded CentOS. Yes, they did, but it's got a new name. CentOS is dead. So Red Hat bought the project out, and then killed it. And they don't like it. They do not. Red Hat does not like CentOS. So if you want to pick something that's compatible with Red Hat, go with Fedora for sure. So yeah, and it's just focused to CentOS Stream. CentOS Linux 8 will end. Yeah, you can check out Susie. Oh, right. Wait. What is the OS of the cloud? Do we want to run like Bottle Rocket and something like that? Can we even run that without having having it in Amazon cloud? That's the whole Rust thing, and I want to try that because, contrary to what everyone thinks, I actually want to see if somebody pulls off a Rust related distro. Because reasons, you should consider adding other systems BSD. I can't add it to this system, so it's the data center. I would love to do that. I would love to add BSD systems, but they would just sit there unused. This is all about. I mean. You know what? So let's do. Maybe we could actually do a BSD system for the router. For like we could use a extended pfSense, and I think pfSense will run on regular hardware, so we could run our own load balancer. You know what I mean? Because you have to have an external load balancer from your Kubernetes cluster for all ingress and everything. It's got to be totally separate. And right now, that would be my Wi-Fi router, right? But fit it on Raspberry Pi. Yeah, I know. So what we could do is we could do BSD, because I want to do BSD. Believe me, I love BSD. I'm just trying to figure out how I could put it into my architecture. It would have to be. I kind of want to have a BSD routers / old school. Network sniffer. Do you know what I mean? We could actually do we could put like an OpenBSD. Yeah, OpenBSD. Any of the BSDs doesn't really give you BSD. It isn't. So this is what I was thinking of doing. This is what I did before. I built my own chassis and I put, 2 NIC cards in it. And yes, they're NIC cards, by the way. The C in NIC does not stand for card. It stands for controller, just in case you're wondering. Pedantic assholes tell me that all the time. At least they have at least once. And so basically you can make your own old school wire sniffer, and it's really fun because then you SSH into it and you can like keep track. It's how I caught the hackers and everything that came on that tried to get in my system. As I was, I saw also my ex-wife, I used to look up her password too and tell it she typed her. My wife would type her password wrong and I'd say you forgot an S and she'd get pissed. She did not like that. She did not think that was funny. I thought it was hilarious. This is back when Gmail didn't have TLS or HTTPS at all. Can you imagine that? All of Gmail ran for like 2 or 3 years with no encryption at all. Flat text passwords, man. I cannot believe they did that. I can't believe it. I mean, you would still have to get anyway, with pure bash stuff in it. You can do it with Linux. Oh, it's black blockish. Yeah. pfSense is pretty black box. Yeah. It does have SSH access, but you don't have a lot of stuff you can do with it. Yeah. Those were the days. when you could like sniff telnet and everything. Running intrusion detection system might be fun. Yeah. Security lives in Kubernetes world. One of the things I want to put in here is because I am going to be exposing these ports and everything to the internet, to the raw internet, and God knows I'm going to be doxing the shit out of my IP the way I have like up to now. So, but I don't mind. There's a couple of hackers that I've actually seen. They're like, yes, please hack me. Yeah, please port scan me. I can't wait. Make sure you do that from your home system, by the way. So it'd be my Kubernetes cluster / honeypot to catch script kiddies. Yummy. Yummy script kiddies. Let's go eat them. My skills are not where they used to be. Suffice it to say, yeah, we could, anyway. So we can find a place for BSD in the system. I think BSD is probably going to be a network appliance though, because that's what it's rock solid at doing. It's so fucking good at it. You know what I mean? So let's say we put a BSD firewall / packet sniffer, and we put that in between the Wi-Fi router, you know, on the modem, cable modem, and everything. ZFS NAS. Ooh, and then we have just that one system that all our traffic goes through, all of it, and that's good too, because if we did our tables right, IP tables and everything, we could have a second layer of port forwarding. We'd have to, if we were going to do port forwarding, it's going to be kind of interesting, right? But the really cool thing about that is I could manage all the port forwarding from that machine, and then I wouldn't have to manage any port forwarding from whatever the fuck, you know, application is on my router. I've never really liked doing that, by the way. You know, I don't like clicking through the Netgear, you know, port forwarding stuff and trusting this web interface. I've never really liked doing that. I know I do it because it's required and it's necessary, but I would rather Solaris. Why not? And I know what you need. Solaris. Dude, Dennis told me he would send me a Solaris box. He's got tons of them apparently still in his house sitting around there. He was very serious. He's like, give me your PO or whatever. I'll send you one. I was like, I'll come get it. We'll go have a beer in a hot tub and stream it, and then you give me a you give me a Solaris. I'm not even kidding. I would put one in there for people don't understand that Solaris is still out there. They like 90% of the stream just ask themselves, what the fuck is Solaris? Like Google Solaris really fast. Yeah, it's like, yeah, the next thing after that, Google AIX, and then Google, there's more fucking Unix systems in the world than Linux. Yeah, you just don't see them easily. There's no way that we could approve this ever, but I'm telling you, if you were able to count every computer operating system on planet Earth today, the number of Unix systems, AIX and Sun systems would grossly outweigh the Linux systems if you don't count the Android computers, because Android is technically Linux and Mac is technically BSD, so that would count as used to. But I'm telling you, you do not know how many Sun and AIX systems are out there, because they're all in the enterprise or they're all on LPARs in the middle of a mainframe. You just have no idea. There's millions and millions of them, and they're still being managed. AS400s, that kind of shit. Nobody knows about it because they don't work in that industry. But if you're, you know, anywhere near a government, ClearOS is ClearOS the new version of OpenSolaris? I feel ashamed. I don't know that. I should know that. Oracle Linux, yeah, that's the. What's the Amazon one though? CentOS is dead. Stream says Stream is not replacement. ClearOS is RedHat. Is that the one that was kind of replacing it? I guess not. I don't know. I'm trying to decide. I don't know. CentOS project should focus to CentOS Stream. What? The future of CentOS. No, that's like way too old. That entry is way too old. CentOS, Wikipedia. CentOS 8.3. CentOS is a Linux distribution that provides a free open source for computer non-functional commands upstream. Red Hat Enterprise Linux in January 2014. No. They joined Red Hat in 2014. I didn't realize it was that long ago. While staying independent from Red Hat. Bullshit. You can't get canceled if you're independent. The first OS released in May 2004. A number of CentOS was forked from the Red Hat version of the. Since version 8, CentOS officially supports x86 ARM and Power. Fedora is the only decent RPM-based distro left. I think you're probably right, Mac. Yeah. Truth from the Dane, yet again. I think you're right. I mean, we've kind of been coming to that conclusion, but I was just holding on hope. Yeah. Yep. That's it. I made a decision. Fedora it is, which is fine. I mean, here's why. Fedora has official support from Red Hat. You know why? Boy, did Red Hat take a licking when they did this. When Red Hat came out with Fedora and said, hey, community, remember all those free contributions that you kept making to our product and we made all the money on? Well, we have a new free one that you can still contribute all your free contributions. You know what? That's just fine. And then they proceeded to take all of those free contributions, wrap them up in a proprietary package, and turn around and sell them for millions of dollars. And I just have to tell you one thing. If you want to make friends with the open source community, that's not how you do it. Dude, people were bursting blood vessels in their head over this. They were so fucking pissed off at Red Hat for doing that. They're like, fuck no, we're not contributing to Fedora. You're just going to steal our innovation and you're going to take it and you're going to parlay it into some, extra money. Boy, ask Stallman about that one. He'll tell you, he'll give you a mouthful. So, yeah, take care, Black Mouse. Nice having you visit. It's to go for, yeah, I think Fedora is probably fine. And then, Ubuntu, Debian, kind of thing. I actually probably want to have both of those. Talos will have that. We obviously have to have, what is it? I forget the name of it. The Raspberry Pi one. What is it? I just want to use the standard Raspberry Pi image. What is it? The standard Raspberry Pi, Raspbian. Yeah. Raspbian. Raspbian, yeah. I spell it right. It's Raspbian. Raspbian. It's not that bad. The one thing I like about it is that it is actually, the problem with it is that it has all of, it's directly tied into all the device settings. So like overclocking and stuff, it's better for doing that. You can overclock straight from Raspbian. I have not found a way to usually when I put like a lightweight Ubuntu, do you have another version that you like better than Raspbian? I'm really excited to try out Sidero on that because they support ARM. So that'll be fun to see what's up with that, how that goes down. This has been a really good session though. I think we're kind of getting ready to take a break before the next one, so I'm probably going to stop here. But I don't want to get in. When we do architecture next, which will probably be tomorrow. Let me get the schedule. So tomorrow afternoon, we're going to be doing more Kubernetes Colearning. And I'm going to be doing hardware architecture. Ubuntu Core. They're not supporting that anymore. Did you hear? Yeah. They're not supporting their core or tiny images anymore. Yeah, I heard something about that. OpenSuse. Yes, we need a SUSE in here. Do you want OpenSuse or should we do OpenSuse or actually just SUSE? No, we're not building a Gentoo system. I mean, I could. Or I could make me an LFS. Yeah. I mean, SUSE is actually, okay, so these are all enterprise, like Enterprise E. How about that? Enterprise E. Enterprise E. We want Enterprise E stuff because, enterprise. And these are not. So Raspberry Pis are not in the same sense. Lucenti, how's it going? The world's greatest creator of links to stuff I say in the stream. He needs to get a special award for that. I wish I could give you a special badge as like quartermaster or scribe or some shit. Because he turns out the links faster than I can even come out of my mouth. He's got it available every time. Yeah, Enterprise Edition. Yeah, OpenSuse. So what I was asking is, do we want to use one of the really enterprisey cloud versions, like was it BottleRocket and Microsoft Linux? Which, I mean, come on, that is just the craziest thing to hear anyone ever say. SUSE Linux Enterprise Micro 5.1 is generally available. Huh. Thank you very much for that link. I shall add it to the notes. The show notes, as I am told they are called. I'm new to this YouTube shit. But I like it. Let's see. How do you get a developer license? I don't know. There's Amazon Linux. Is that the evergreen one where they give you like updates all the time? You know, I kind of feel like, you know what? I think I'm going to wait because this is on-prem shit. I'm not, okay, so we're going to make a decision here. I'm going to write the decision down so everyone can see it. So the decision is, since we're like focused on on-prem, no cloud-ish OSs. And, you know, in other words, the ones that the cloud providers are pushing. Look, we can play with the cloud operating systems to our heart's content when we turn to do this in the cloud, if and when we do that. I'm actually seeking to get certified in on-prem Kubernetes without ever getting certified in any of the cloud providers. And if I have a way, actually personally, I already talked about this. I personally kind of want to emphasize K3OS for sure. Why isn't that there? I'm a bad person. K3OS, I forgot about it. So the point I'm trying to make is, I'm going to make a conscious choice to not work with, is that a thing? ClownishOS? Did not know that was a thing. I'm a little bit, you know all about the esoteric stuff out there. I got to take lessons. Amazon Linux is focused. Yeah. So the point is, if I have a feeling there's enough work that I could become an on-prem specialist and just basically flip off all the cloud providers. Are they going to give me sponsorship? Is Azure going to call me again and say, hey, we want to sponsor us? I mean, they actually already did that. And I was like, actually, I don't have any problem trying it on Azure. And now that I've kind of come to this conclusion, and I'm really pro on-prem. And my take on this is that there is going to be enough companies and organizations that are going to want to do on-prem that they're going to need an on-prem specialist, somebody who's regularly gives the bird to all the big cloud providers. And I think I just made a decision. If I can get certified, even if I had failed certification because I don't pass, what a cloud controller manager, I think I could get certified by just knowing what the control plane component is called. It's called a cloud controller manager, and that's the thing that integrates you with the cloud providers. Like that's probably the only question, or setting it up. Does anybody know? As long as I don't have to deal with on-prem SQL Server. Oh God. No, we're not. No. Did I say Windows at all? I think pretty soon it will be fallback to hard on-prem. You think so, Black Mouse? Dude, I really trust your instincts. So if you're saying that, it kind of makes me have butterflies. If you're saying that, seriously, I got a little bit of like Christmas butterfly in my stomach right there. Like, that feeling like the next day you're going to go to Disneyland. I had that little feeling happen. Yeah, you made me very happy. Thank you. I'm serious. Some people get excited going to Disneyland. I get excited knowing that everything's going to be on-prem eventually. Because I just feel like that's the world I want to live in. I want to live in Disneyland where everything's on-prem. And people have a choice in matters, and they have healthcare, and they can innovate without having to worry about dying. It's just small. I have tiny dreams. My dreams are small. I have small dreams. Big aspirations. What the fuck, Eric? I mean, something else, Eric. I'm not supposed to yell like that when people raid you. That's probably not. Thank you for joining, Eric Charnetsky. Eric, ty говоришь по-русски. Скажите, пожалуйста, do you? I sometimes wonder if you're like taking a crapshoot when someone's name ends in ski like that, because it could be any number of like ethnical, cultural backgrounds involved, some of which would get wildly pissed off by suggesting they're Russian. True story. I was at a dinner party. True story. This is my ex-wife back when I was Mormon, and there was this new couple in the word Mormon-y thing, and they came in and we were eating and stuff, and I detected an accent, a Slavic accent. And I'm just telling you this so you don't do it. I'm just telling you this so you never ever do it. Thanks, good to see you here. So I walked in and I was trying to create small talk, and how I like languages and all. And I was like, and I said, oh, we говорите по-русски, and they went, what? And they didn't like it because they didn't understand it. I said, oh, I was taking a chance that maybe your accent was Russian. They went, no, we're not Russian. They were so pissed. It had the opposite effect of the desired effect. I was trying to build relationships of trust to make a new friend and everything, and they were like pissed off that I suggested that they could maybe be Russians. And I was like, then I was immediately made aware, as this naive American that I am, that there are certain populations in the world where suggesting that they are Russian will get you a proverbial black eye. Zircanian, ну хорошо. Что вы хотите? Что вы хотите, чтобы мы вам говорит? Говорит. Обо всем говорим. All I remember in the Ukrainian is they really punch their H's. They say them a little bit different. Да, я был на украинске. Я плавал по Волге несколько лет назад. Oh, you don't speak it? That's like my dad would say with me. He's like, your name's Swedish and German, right? I said, yeah. So why are you learning French and Russian and not German? Cause. And then I married a German. So there. Ni хорошо, а добро. А добро. The trick is to know the components of the various Linux OS images. Yes. If you're on hardcore, you put together minimal OS image yourself and maximum performance security fits the performance. Yeah, absolutely. That's what I want to do too, MacGyver. Actually, I'm glad you said that, because Sidero and Talos, this actually what they did. I talked to the lead engineer on the Sidero Talos project personally. They actually reached out to me. I cannot overstate how cool of a company I think Sidero is. And I even openly said, maybe one day I'll be worthy of working there. But while I was talking, I think it was Andrew was his name, and he was talking about his experience building Sidero. He kind of geeked out a little bit. It was kind of fun. And he started talking about all the LFS servers that all LFS distros that he'd made for himself. He had built his own servers from scratch. And so, MacGyver's right. We have an opportunity to tweak our own, and the entire Sidero OS is available for free, and it's all ephemeral, and goes away, and it only has an MTLS protected socket over a gRPC, and that's it. You have to use the Talos plus CLI to do that. So yeah, LFS. I actually grow our own. I think. Why the fuck not, man? This is a goal I have that I have not fulfilled yet, and I still would really, really like to do it, particularly since we had so much leftover hardware around. So we could make like a Pi Zero and then make it really tiny, or compile in some different modules that have maybe make our own sensors. Let me think about this. I could use the Raspberry Pi and put my clips on it, and I could turn it into a service so that when I push a button, it broadcasts that service to the central server and makes it do a thing. Big oof. It would depend on each country's laws as to what you can and cannot do to store them. Sometimes it can be a headache. For what? The E equals to a Russian ah? A Russian yeah. Really nice. Yeah. Um, Having some issues with blocks of some resources according to local law. Anyway, yeah, we'll have to take a look at that. So I think we have a growing list of stuff. Uh, yeah, I don't really need to adjust learning plan. I'm just changing it. I don't know. I sometimes we'll talk about this tomorrow. So tomorrow we're gonna actually regroup because all this hardware stuff. It could take me a year just to play around with all the hardware, maybe a few months. So I have to keep my general learning related to Kubernetes concepts and components and stuff moving, and I need to keep doing some applications development. So ContainerOS, ContainerOS, ContainerOS got. I thought that's deprecated. I could have swore ContainerOS is deprecated. No, that's CoreOS. I know. Are you guys yelling at me because I don't know better? You put together Linux OS image myself for embedded devices, and I've done so for 16 years because you're a superior person to the rest of us, MacGyver. Now I do the same also for cloud. An image is only tens of components. An average cloud image can be 60 to 100 components per package. Yeah, absolutely. Actually, I would really like to having you know that experience about you, MacGyver. I would love to see your opinion on Sidero and Talos, because that's exactly what it is. It's just kubelet. Boom. That's it. It's not even a kubelet actually. Yeah, it's hardware that they then put Kubernetes on. It's Kubernetes on metal, they call it. So yeah. Anyway, this is gonna change. I think what I feel happening is we're gonna be fracturing. I'm gonna put it this way. I feel a split in learning coming on. A split in my learning approach, in my learning strategy. Because actually the truth is, we do have the 3 certs, and the 3 certs sort of represent the areas that we need to talk about. Alpine is not an OS for, I don't think Alpine is an OS. I mean, why the fuck not? God knows I love Alpine. I do. I've said it many times. I love Alpine. I just, all right, we'll try it. I mean, I don't see why it wouldn't be, because you don't need a lot of stuff on there. You just need the kernel, right? I actually would rather do Alpine than Raspberry. I wonder if Alpine on ARM is the thing. Yeah, did you find one? You did find one. Holy shit. Oh my god. I am so glad. I'm a huge Alpine fan. I love Alpine, beginning with the fact that they chose GPL v2 and not v3. Actually, I think they're MIT license, right? Yeah, there's a lot of architectures. Well, this is the thing. Actually, I have enough, pies and stuff. I want a little of everything. Let's just put it that way. Yeah, it is mostly a package. Yeah. So, reduce the AWS well-connected stuff. 850 different images we need to encrypt because they weren't encrypting them by default. They weren't encrypting the base images? Interesting. Yeah. Maybe there was some hardworking stuff. Yeah, I don't know. But I mean, this is part of the fun of it. So but this is a lot of fun. I mean, this is going to take time though. If I'm going to be, getting the first cluster up, probably all running on RedHat or Ubuntu, and because those are the 2 primary host OSs, and then building in new nodes and adding nodes in as we go, and adding node affinity rules and stuff like that. So we actually there's kind of a split happening. I need to make sure that I have enough time for the hardware, right? So time for hardware and node setup. Actually, we need time for infrastructure. raw infrastructure networking and stuff. You know, building out systems, maybe building our own OS. I would consider that part of infrastructure, actually, like doing an LFS project. So networking, LFS, netboot. I really want to set up a netboot server, and I've never set one up. I've managed them and administered them before, but I've never actually set a netboot server up. And I really want to set a netboot server up, and particularly since Talos boots has a netboot image by default, you can just download it. So I don't know how to do that. Just those of you who know how to do it can laugh at me, and we can set it up. And nixOS, why not? Oh god, nixOS is cool. Yeah, we could definitely play around with nixOS. But see, this is what's so cool is we can like mess around with all this shit and just like talk about it. nixOS actually is really interesting to me. I'm really, really interested in it. It doesn't have a lot of, clout right now, but it could easily have a lot of clout. Yeah, I do too. I from the premise that I was reading about it, I really think it could go someplace. It's like it's an OS fundamentally built on the premise of containers, not in the same way that RancherOS is. And there is no RancherOS, in case you're wondering, anymore. That doesn't exist anymore. So RancherOS went away. Rancher. Yeah, there's no more RancherOS. There's Fedora version. What do you got? You want us to put Arch on there? I mean, why the fuck not? If we're going to do nixOS, we might as well try some Arch. Why the hell not? Again, my gripe with Arch isn't with Arch. It's with the Arch community telling beginners they should use Arch without asking them. And that is not cool to me. So just so you know, that's why we were kind of joking about that whole thing there. Because, I mean, I use Arch, by the way, is kind of a thing. Anyway, wait, that's not the right one. I have failed to copy correctly. Copy link address. Okay, paste. Kubernetes Arch 64. Yeah, why the fuck not? I mean, why not? Pacman and the AUR are not bad things. I'm glad that Debian's going to have the Debian. I haven't even used it yet. So again, as I said, the goal of this is to get me back into hardware, back into operations setup, back into module tweaking, core module tweaking and things like that, device drivers and that shit. This is all stuff that I did like every day for years in 2000, 2003, whatever. And I haven't done it in a long time. So I need to do it again, and building up this hardware monstrosity that I'm building. It's got a little of everything in it. And then putting it all on Kubernetes is kind of a Frankenstein's lab to experiment and see, hey, if I cut this nerve, what thing will happen? That kind of thing. Templos doesn't run Kubernetes, unfortunately. We did put BSD here, right? So wait, let's put this. Find a place for OpenBSD for network. Yeah, I definitely want to put that someplace in there. I don't want to lose that. We're definitely going to put that in there. Emacs. Why? It's not. No. Oh, I get it. Emacs is an operating system. Yeah. Har. It took me a while. I was a little slow on the uptake on that one, but I got there eventually. I did. Lol. All right. Try that joke in any other stream on this planet. Only here on Artifacts do we make really shitty dad jokes about Emacs as an operating system. Slackware is the oldest running. You know what? Why the fuck not? Let's put them all there. Let's just put them all there. Why not? I got enough machines. Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's like 13. It's only half the computers I have. So we got yeah. Gentoo. No, okay, wait. I have a line. No cloudish operating systems. Oh man, if I say this, I'm not gonna be able to do LFS. Uh, compile your own, but only later. LFS, Gentoo. I mean, you know what? I just think it would be fun because people would get to see it in macOS. Frank, Frank. Oh my god. Puppy, no. Now you guys are just going nuts. Seriously, the Temple OS recommendation already came out. That's usually know when you're done with this conversation. So whenever you talk about OSs, no wait, we're still missing one. You haven't recommended the Hannah Montana OS yet. Usually when that gets recommended, you know it's time to move on. It's time to move on. It's time to move on. All right, you don't have time to do LFS. Trust me. I recommend my own open source build tool. No, I want to try LFS. Fuck you. And I love you though. Eric, you try build root to build minimum. Look, this is like so far down on the priority list. I am just putting it there so that my dreams are not. Knoppix still? It's not supported anymore. Otherwise, I would. Red Star OS. Oh god, really? Temple. Somebody already said Temple OS. I'm not mad at you. All right, time to move on. So I feel like a split in my learning strategy. Time for raw infrastructure. Time for hardware and node setup. And this includes crimping my own network cables, which I love to do. It's so much fun. It's so satisfying. It is so satisfying. Time for hardware and node setup. Yes. And I need time for CCAD development. I need to make a Kubernetes application or 10 and use all this stuff so that I can say that I actually know how to set up an ingress and a service and a redundant pod architecture, pods, ingress, etc. I mean, I want to make not just like some fucking Hello World app. I want to make a true app, and that's going to be a thing. You research some operators. Did you look at operators? Oh, did you make your own? Tony one says we should use the RedHat operator framework, and I don't know if I want to. Operators, yeah, it's all about the operators now, though, man. It really is. If I follow along with the project, I can add so many buzzwords to my CV. You definitely can, QT. You could. We're hopefully one of the things that comes out of this is a credential. You know what I found? I got to talk about this later. So actually, I'm going to do this in AMA. I found out that Net, actually, I learned this from Net. You should go, or Het Tanis, HET_. He was talking about this yesterday when he went for the CISSP. There's this like one document that has all of the things you should know to get it. And I was like, oh my God, that's like an open merit credential system certificate. That's exactly what it is. It's just a list of what you should learn. I'll come back to that later and we'll talk about it. If we had more things like that from the industry, that's all the people that had to get a CISSP came together and made this huge centralized document of everything you need to learn. And they put it on and they maintain it together in an open source way. And I was like, what? That's like exactly what I've been talking about. I want to do the same thing for Kubernetes. I want to do the same thing for Cloud Native and Kubernetes. I want to build that kind of, probably wouldn't be a single document. And even this is like multiple documents that have different pages with different color coding about all the different pieces that you need to look, and they break it all down in like this way. And rather than giving you specific requirements you have to be able to do, they have the concepts that are covered that you have to be able to do. But I really like that. We're going to come back to that. And try to model the breakdown of all the stuff that you have to learn, because there's just so much. To update all the OSs, Ansible. I don't know. I don't do any updating right now. This is all part of the plan. Maybe I would use Ansible at some point. Yeah. I mean, that's actually one of the core things I want to research here, particularly with Talos. Talos is a managed operating system that gets managed through Kubernetes. It's the only one in the list. And I don't even think the Rancher stuff was doing that before. 5K SLOC and YAML. Yeah, actually The enterprise, the SME for Elasticsearch told us today that one of the best ways to do Elasticsearch deployment was to use YAML links. That's the first time I've ever heard somebody suggest to use YAML links in a Kubernetes deployment, because it's such a huge file and there's so much repetitiveness in it that you can actually use. It's not a symbolic link, it's a link. You can use links in YAML and say, any place this appears, go back and look at that other section because it all just got repeated right here. And so when people say we're YAML programmers in cloud native, they're right. It's 100%. It's 100% YAML programming. It was an official recommendation to do that because we're talking about operators too, right? Black Mouse. So because it's just in case anybody else is wondering, we've been geeking out over wanting to write our first operator. I'll feel like a real boy after I've written my first Kubernetes operator. It's like writing your first kernel module that just prints hello world on boot up. It's like, yeah, but I got it. I did mod probe. I know how to put it in there and everything. I know I wrote it in C, and there's something about creating your own operator, even if it doesn't do anything at all except for fire up a pod, that I just really want to do it. It's like the hello world of Kubernetes applications, like development. Not putting a bunch of shit in containers. There's like CCAD development, which is kind of like deploying applications to Kubernetes, and then there's like making custom resource definitions and operators and stuff like that for Kubernetes, which is totally different. It's cool and everything, but one of them is like kernel mods in Linux, and the other one is like writing Python code that runs on Linux. And they're different. If for kernels of your own for the microcontrollers, nice. I would love to write my own kernel. That'd be really cool. And let's see, and I'll do it in a month if I survive the current project. Yes, point where the custom operator is really needed. So Elasticsearch deploys as an operator. They're another one of these groups that's been doing it, and I don't know if you saw, but on the landscape diagram. Let's see if I can pull it up. The landscape diagram officially has, we got to watch this because Helm is you've got to learn Helm. Let me zoom in. So you can't read it really well. Sorry about that. But so Helm is the official on the certification test way to deploy. That's events. What do I do? What did I do? Did I zoom out too much? Yep. Oops. Reverse. Here we go. Helm. So yeah. Helm is the way to go. But what I was going to show you is they have more stuff here now. So, yeah, this one here. God, you can't see it because I got my. Watch your eyes, people. Watch your eyes. So build packs and operator framework. These two are like running after each other. Remember we said how sucky Helm is? These two are fighting hard for first place, second place, or first place. And the operator framework is the one that this is coming out of RedHat, I'm pretty sure. Yep, RedHat. So this is getting a lot of attention right now, because nobody likes Helm. Helm sucks. For reasons I won't go into right now. Normally I don't like conclusions without explanation, but it just does. And I don't even know what the build packs approach is, but this is the kind of thing. Oh, is this coming from LinkedIn? Hell no. Hell no. Oh wait, this one is too. Oh wait. Oh, it's the company. Okay, never mind. I take it all back. I don't know what I'm talking about. Okay, website build packs. Build packs. Oh, looks kind of. Is Crunchbase? No, it's not. That's something different. I wonder what company's sponsoring it. And then RedHat's behind the other one. So operator framework is apparently getting, a lot of interest, and I've had that recommended to me by people. So I want to do my own operator, but this might be an alternative to Helm deployment, and we need to look at that. We need to understand that, particularly those of us who are doing any kind of cloud native applications development. I think that's going to be important. Did you find the quick start for operators? Oh, you're getting, this is porn. You can't send me porn. You can't send me. Okay, fine. Fine. This is porn, man. I want to go learn that. This I'm doing. It takes everything in me to not go play with this. Quick start for Helm-based operations. This is operator SDK. Oh wow, this is different. Is this the same one? Wait. Oh no, it is. It is a piece of a really stupid option. Why would you Helm-based operations? Just drop Helm support. Yeah, fuck, you know. Why would you put no. Ugh. No, I don't even know what the operator framework does, so I don't listen to me. I want to figure out what it does. I know, but it doesn't require Helm. Please tell me it doesn't require Helm. Please tell me it doesn't. Okay, fine. I'm getting sucked down into the black hole here. Yeah, I was gonna say. So you have to learn Helm. Helm is literally on the CCAT exam. You must learn it. You cannot get certified if you're into that thing. So we have to go through that pain. I've gone through that pain so much. I haven't made my own Helm chart yet, but it's not that hard. And by the way, learn Go templates because that's all Helm. Helm is all Go templates. You like Helm? I don't like it. If you're writing your own charts, yeah, it's always great when you're the one in control. The thing I don't like about it is it adds a level of obfuscation to what is already a complex system of resource, YAML files. And then they create their own, domain language on top of that to simplify it. And half the time it's just passing shit straight through when I wish I had just made a bunch of resource files to begin with. So I'm not a Helm fan. You can't make me a Helm fan. We have to have an entire system that encapsulates the Helm charts just to do what Helm charts don't do. So we have Helm, and then it's just a mess. That whole area is ripe for startup kit potential. I'm going to predict right now, somebody's going to make a better way to deploy, and they're going to have a total business that's going to get bought out, just like the observability stuff, because Helm sucks. And you ask anybody, a lot of the people, including Chris Nova, are searching for alternatives to Helm, even though I understand she was involved with, the Helm project. The whole edge of the Kubernetes world right now is looking for something better than Helm. And that's why those other two projects are incubating. And I think people are kind of looking around. And the reason I'm really interested in coding operators is because we're already seeing, kind of forward thinking companies. There's the Ray operator, the Postgres operator, there's the Elasticsearch, or actually the ESK operator, which is the Elastic Stack, which is a thing that, Grafana, it's got Kibana. It's not just Elasticsearch, it's like all these. And you can't just learn Kubernetes, you got to learn all of these other things too, right? So, but there's this trend in people who are making operators for not only their installation, but their management. And that's the difference between an operator and Helm chart. A Helm chart is just to install the thing and to update it potentially when you need to. The problem is they're going to come out with a new Helm chart and they're going to change shit in there. And if you've done any customization at all to the Helm chart, you're fucked because you've already forked. You've already effectively forked, and now you can't just take the new Helm chart. Plus, you don't even know what they added and if you agree with their additions, right? So it's risky. Whereas an operator, as I understand it, an operator not only installs the whole thing, but then it does the work of managing it going forward. So if you have incremental upgrades and something like that, they can be built into the operator. It just depends on how well you write the operator. So I don't know. But Taniwa and others have said that operators put a large amount of stress on etcd, and they may eventually exceed etcd's capabilities. Etcd has a really hard ceiling, and that this focus on operators might eventually produce kind of an electron situation where everybody's doing it. They don't think about everybody else. And then all of a sudden nobody can use it because all the resources are gone. The only thing that the cloud native landscape is telling us is that there are too many competing technologies to pick from, made by everyone. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a meme, Mac. They know it, but it's better than nothing. I mean, at least you can kind of there's if there weren't that, we would all have to be just jostling about trying to figure out what to learn. And and that's, I mean, I don't know what's better. You just have to do a lot of research, right? And I mean, the landscape has proved to me that, there's only so much research you can do. It's like, so anyway, that's going to conclude it for tonight. I'm kind of overtime, actually. That's going to be the end of this video. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the YouTube video right now. I forgot to do my review thing. Well, we'll come back. I mean, it was on the screen the whole time. So if you just came to the end of the video, just go back a few minutes and you can see all the list there. Tomorrow, though, we're going to be doing another Cloud Native Kubernetes, but I'm going to have to break these up. I'm going to have to make some that are based on applications development and maybe firing up a Kubernetes cluster in DigitalOcean and just doing Kubernetes application development in the cloud that I like. And then others are going to be setting up the hardware. And I think that's pretty much going to be the division. But I don't know what tomorrow's going to be. I don't know if it's going to be, we just read concepts and go through the tutorial stuff online, or what. But the takeaway is that the Kubernetes learning that I'm doing is going to start getting classified so that, one of them will be about this. And pretty much, I think I probably will stick with the CKAD, CKA, and the CKS separation just for the sake of clarity. Because we haven't even touched RBAC rules and all the stuff with security that's related to this, and whether you use Containerd or Podman or whatever. So you're grossly disappointed that there's no music. Yeah, there's not going to be any music for several hours. Sorry, Mac. So I'll tell you what, I'll give you a little bit of music for the next few minutes while I take a break. But other than that, sorry. No Yogi, not right now. All right, so that's all for that video.